Imagine if there was one piece of text, one book of literature, that buried between its pages was not only the way to transform how you work forever, but the type of life that you're able to achieve as a result. That is what this video is all about, and if you stick around to the end, you'll understand not only how this book changed my life, but how it can completely change yours too. My entire goal for this YouTube channel is to help make yourself and other viewers of the channel completely unemployable. I want to equip you with the skills and ideas that'll set you up to avoid ever having to work for anyone else. The byproduct of that will be creating a life that you're truly proud of and is lived on your own terms. I've spent the last 8 years of my life building a business that's given me anything that I ever wanted in this world. I've been able to travel the world, live in the back of a 4Runner with my fiance and our 2 dogs, put more money into investments and my retirement than I ever thought I'd be able to, and I've done it all while being able to work for myself and on my own personal terms. It wasn't always this way though. Back in 2010, I was just like everyone else. I'd recently graduated college, I got my first 9-to-5 job, and I was all set to start climbing the corporate ladder. So how did I go from an employee to an employer? Well, it all started with a guy named Tim Ferris. If you're not familiar with Tim, Tim is an absolute OG in the self-help and personal development space. His book, The 4-Hour Workweek, is one of the most widely successful and widely read self-improvement books of all time. I really credit this book with being part of kickstarting the whole creator economy and the whole remote work vibe that all of us have been privy to over the last couple decades. He's also one of the most successful podcasters of all time, right up there with Joe Rogan as part of the OG podcast club. And all the trends that have become popular today, like meditation, breath work, ice baths, were all self-experiments that Tim Ferris was running decades ago around the time that he published this book. It's safe to say that Tim's a pretty good source of understanding where the world is headed and new ideas. Let's jump into 9 of the biggest lessons from this book that completely changed my life. Lesson number 1 is you need to challenge the status quo. I didn't realize it at the time, but the reason why this book shocked my system so much the first time I read it and why it resonated with me so much is because it was a massive challenge to the status quo. Today, we've all seen the IG accounts and TikToks of people living in vans and living all around the world, working from wherever they want. But at the time of the publishing of this book, that was not common, and it was a complete shock to the system. This is just one example of systemic beliefs that have completely crumbled and toppled over since the publishing of this book. Yet it's more relevant than ever. The best way to build a life that nobody else has is to do what nobody else is doing. This can be difficult, which is why it's important to find channels like this on YouTube, podcasts that you can subscribe to, thought leaders out there challenging the status quo, making an impact, and creating a life on their terms. Otherwise, it's just way too busy to get sucked back into the matrix of society and the status quo chosen path that's predictable and is going to lead you to exactly where you might not want to be. Lesson number 2 is the 80-20 or Pareto principle. 80% of the results in your life are going to come from about 20% of the levers that you can pull. 20% of your total options in any given situation likely lead to 80% of the results that you'll see in your life or your business. In business, typically 80% of profits come from 20% or the best 20% of customers. In productivity, 80% of results typically come from the 20% of the highest impact tasks that you can do. Put simply, you need to focus on the things in your life that are bringing you the most impact, those 20% that have the highest potential gain. What are the relationships that bring you the most joy and the most value? What are the tasks that you could be doing every day that are delivering the most results? If you move into the business world and start your own business, which clients are paying you the most while requiring the least amount of work? We all have the exact same amount of time in every day, so take a good look at your task list. Which ones are having the most impact? Which of the tasks that you could complete today will move the needle most in your life or your business if you complete them? Go and do those and eliminate the rest. Bring this mindset into your life and watch the magic unfold, plain and simple. The next lesson is selective ignorance. The world today is more connected than it has ever been. Information is more freely available. You're one tweet away from having the ear of Elon Musk, and you have the ability to tap into leaders and thinkers that have knowledge and information freely available that will enable you to change your life. Yet the world is more unhappy and more stressed than it has ever been at any other time in history. Information consumes the attention span of its recipients. Not just while they're actually consuming the information, it can continue to distract, take up mindshare, and hold you back long after you have watched it or long after you have consumed it. Tim teaches that it's very important to be selectively ignorant. Unfollow people that are not relevant to where you're headed in life. Stop watching network news that's only there to spread misinformation and is basically a sitcom regardless of your political viewpoint on the left or right. In short, turn off the noise that is bringing you down and follow and tap into more people that are bringing you up or moving you forward in life. Lesson number 4 is automate everything that you can. This is something that's become an even more attainable hack since the 17 years since this book was published. I automate everything that I can in my life. I automate reminders, daily tasks that can be automated with, simple subscriptions through tools like Zapier, If This Then That, or others. You name it, you can automate it these days. The thing is, you don't really realize how much these small mundane tasks are actually eating up in terms of your bandwidth. If you have one task that takes you 5 minutes per day to do, over a course of a year, that's almost 30 hours of lost productivity doing the same thing that you could have automated. If you're like me, there's probably a lot of these tasks, which means that you're probably not only losing days, but weeks or months of productivity if you add it up based on how much time that task is taking up. Automate it and get it off your plate and just enjoy how much extra time you have. Lesson number 5 is outsource everything that you can. Even if you're currently working a 9-to-5 job, it's possible to outsource all sorts of work for pennies on the dollar without anybody that you work with having any idea. This is something that I really wish that I knew more about early in my year when I was working in sales, because there were so many things that were taking me away from high ROI tasks. Tim calls this geo arbitrage, and today with platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, and others, it's more economical and more possible than ever to find highly qualified talent that can take tasks off of your plate. I could have easily hired somebody to do data mining, lead list creation, and other time-intensive tasks that were taking me away from those high ROI activities that I should have been doing. Those high ROI tasks were generating 80% of my income, but I was only able to spend 20% of my time on it because I was spending the other 80% doing low ROI tasks. I could have found somebody else to do it and honestly made a lot more money. To give you some context, through our social media marketing agency last year, we outsourced 15 years worth of full-time work to our team members. That means that our business was 15 times more profitable and 15 times more productive than it ever could have been just myself. You can't do everything yourself. Outsource and build a team. Lesson number 6 is you need to batch tasks. If you haven't watched my video on how to stay productive for 97% of every day, I'd recommend you watch that one next. But if you have, you know that I'm very, very big on task batching. You can save an absolutely astronomical amount of time just by being strategic about which tasks you do together and when. Look at your tasks or errand for the day or for the week. Think to yourself for a minute. Which of these are similar to each other? Or which of these are located close to each other so that I can combine them together and work more efficiently and save an enormous amount of time? This will unlock an incredible jump in productivity. It's crazy simple to do. It costs you nothing. And I will personally say that I noticed a massive delta of available time that all of a sudden appeared on my calendar just by simply working more strategically in this way. Batch your tasks. I promise it will be worth it. Lesson number 7 is focus on value creation more than time management. My YouTube channel is all about self-improvement and self-mastery, so there's going to be some videos on here about productivity. The thing is, it doesn't matter how well you manage your time if you're not maximizing it for impact. You can have the most well-managed calendar of all time, but if it's filled with meaningless tasks that don't move the needle for your life or your business, it's all for nothing. Instead, focus on creating value. What tasks or what actions can you add to your calendar or are missing from your week that, if added, will create more value and more results in your life? What books can you read instead of watching Netflix? What podcasts can you find that will motivate you? A good example is driving. A lot of people have a commute. This can either be a terrible 30 minutes or hour during your day that you're stuck in traffic and just complaining about traffic jams and bumper-to-bumper traffic, or it can be a rolling university where you combine learning with driving. What you'll find is this actually enables you to do less while achieving a lot more. Lesson number 8 is you need to liberate yourself from your 9-to-5 and you need to create a business that enables remote work. I'm a firm believer that everyone should have a business, and what it means to run a business has greatly changed over the last few decades. In today's connected economy, anyone can start a business, and you can run that business from anywhere in the world. Unless you're truly passionate about running a business in person, I highly recommend starting one that's online based and that you can run and have the flexibility to run from anywhere that you please. This doesn't just need to be for selfish reasons like traveling all the time. This means that you can better take care of family members if they become in need. This means that you have flexibility to take care of a pet if they become injured. This is massive when it comes to your life balance and what you actually are going to want as you get older and older and get later in life. Lesson number 9 is a big one, and it's create mini retirements. I absolutely love this concept, and it's something that I could not possibly understand the first time that I read it. Planning for retirement should be an absolute worst case scenario. It's something that you should absolutely be doing, just like life insurance. You should be contributing to your 401k. You should be planning for retirement. Don't get me wrong, I do all of these things, and I do them in a big way. But what I mean by a worst case scenario is actually waiting for retirement to retire. This should only become what you do if you have no other option, or if everything else that you try just fails. Every year I take a 3-week vacation at the end of September, in addition to a monthly trip that I take pretty much every month of the year. I go offline for these 3 weeks. I go off grid. I really only check in to see how my team is doing, just to make sure that, nothing's on fire and I'm not needed for anything. But I'm able to completely check out mostly for 3 weeks every single year and basically take a bucket list trip that a lot of people have to wait until retirement to do. But that just shouldn't have to be the case. Create a business that enables you to have that flexibility to check out and go on a 3-week long trip, to travel whenever you want, to truly enjoy the benefits of the digital society that we live in today. Take advantage of these things and you're going to be able to live a fuller life than past generations ever were able to, just simply based on the tools that today's economy offers to us. Which of these lessons resonated most with you? Let me know in the comments down below. A great video to watch after this one would be this one right here, where I talk about how I remain productive for 97% of every single day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.